First and foremost, want to wish good luck to the 16 teams still alive in the Illinois high school playoffs. Wish them the best of luck. I've been reaching out to them, by the way, that the NCAA allows us to throughout the playoffs. Kind of a special time of the year, and hopefully we get these back in Champaign, all that other stuff in the future. But recognize them on our stadium, in our stadium next year, or as soon as the results are in, and I think that'll be kind of a exciting chapter for everybody involved moving forward. Also wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. Tomorrow we'll actually practice early morning. We kind of pushed back practice this week just because the kids don't have classes. So we moved the practices back a little bit to allow them to have a chance to sleep in the morning and Tuesday, Wednesday. But tomorrow we'll go back to a pretty early morning so that we can get guys, if they're within a couple hours of being home, if they want to drive home, allowing them to do that. Our schedule's a little bit different than it has been in the past for these guys as far as the time allotment they had to go home. But our guys were all in agreement to do what we need to do to get on track for Saturday. So we'll work out early morning, have our travel meeting, and then we'll have a special dinner for our guys in the stadium, stadium for our guys that aren't allowed to or can't travel to be home with family, be with each other as best we can and move forward. I myself hopefully will be in the building for the first time tomorrow. This is my last time doing Zoom with the team today, hopefully. It's been pretty amazing with technology, what I've been able to do. I get practice updates as soon as we get done with practice. It's uploaded on my computer, usually able to watch it and then talk with our staff. Usually about 2 hours after practice is done, I just got a text. They just walked off the field. So we'll meet about 5 o'clock this evening and get everything planned for tomorrow. So from a health standpoint, really should everybody back with us. I don't know if Jamal Woods will make it back. He unfortunately aggravated an ankle, but he would be the only guy really as of note at this point. Just like everybody else across the country and even witnessed to the last week. Obviously, you're dealing with COVID with me, but for the most part, our biggest obstacle has just been general cold flu bugs working its way through our building, through campus, through our guys. It's, it'll hit one roommate and 3 days later it'll hit another roommate and have had upwards of, maybe 10 to 12 guys out of the practice at one point. And Saturday was no exception. Had a couple guys miss due to that, but we should be full strength for Saturday and open it up for questions.
Hey, Coach, glad to have you back. I want to ask about the bowl scenario. Apparently, there's a way for you to get in at 5 and 7. You win Saturday. Have you talked to the team about that much, or tell me where you are on that?
Yeah, no. On Sunday, I always kind of take a step back on Sunday and talk a little big picture. But being the last week, I did point out to them there's probably going to be a variety of different things that people come to you with about, hey, this could be playing for the seniors. It could be playing for a possible bowl game at 5 and 7. What I kind of summed it up to was, listen, the way you've progressed this year is you've concentrated on the job at hand because it's the next opportunity. This week is a trophy game, a trophy that we haven't seen in 6+ years, a trophy that hasn't been in our building that our guys haven't touched. And that's a big deal. It was one of their goals at the beginning of the year, is to get all the trophies, and obviously we fell short of Purdue. So I think this week is more about the Northwestern, the rivalry that's born there, and out of respect, and also the trophy itself.
Coach, would you be willing to be in a bowl at 5 and 7?
Yeah, I think anything that we can do to give us a chance to practice, I'm all for it. Right? I just think it's invaluable. To the only way you get good at football is to play football, right? So. During our bye weeks, some of the things that you've seen, the progression that we made during the course of the year is through practice, and to be able to do that again would be a no-brainer.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep.
Bret, where are you with the conversations you need to have with players who may exit or maybe asked to exit, however that goes down? Are those conversations basically wrapped up? Are they delayed because of your situation, or is it still something you wait for after the season?
No, Scott, been trying to be as proactive as we possibly can. Not probably. It was in our last bye week. We put up and listed the guys that we had projected as seniors that would be guys that have exhausted their eligibility and really have, or had indicated to us. There's a couple of kids that had indicated to us that they're probably just done, right? Guys that maybe aren't significant role play or significant players on game day. So there was a list, I believe it was 23, 24 guys that we put up. And I said, if your name's not on this list, come see me or come see your position coach and we can have some conversation. Out of that announcement, I probably got maybe 3 to 4 guys that came and saw me and expressed that they would like to be counted as seniors, even though they may have a year left. They may or may not come back. It's really just kind of a work through the process. There is naturally going to be a certain group of guys that will probably test the water with the NFL. So basically, the NFL has a process in place that you can check your draftable grade on your performance at this point. That can't be submitted until you're done with your final regular season game. So it's just been our standard process, or my standard process in the past, dealing with those guys. Let's bring them in on Sunday, Monday, have them fill out the paperwork as soon as possible, because the quicker you turn it around, or the quicker you send it in, the quicker you'll get it back. And I think there'll be a number of guys that do that.
And then you alluded to something on Monday that I apologize, I didn't quite understand. It sounded like you were trying to reframe the conversation about this rivalry with Northwestern. And I wasn't quite clear, so apologies if it's on me. But would you mind elaborating on that if you could?
I'm not following the question.
I thought you said something about somehow the way the game was talked about in the building, and you were trying to nip it in the bud. But
no, just I remember last year when I got here, I think through Kent or media had brought up the fact that some players had said some things in the media that I can't remember who it was now, that were like kind of just some words or some verbs or some language that maybe weren't respectful to Northwestern and what they'd been able to accomplish. And I just wanted our guys to know that, to get to a rivalry standpoint, we have to establish ourselves, right, and earn the respect of the people involved. So that was kind of my narrative. And the kids have been really, really good. I think they understand it. Again, they haven't touched this trophy in 6 years, so the opportunity to play for a trophy game and against a team that's got obviously a great history in this conference as of late. Last year being the Big Ten West representative, it's a great challenge for us.
Thanks for clarifying that. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, Bret, I know on Monday you talked about the seniors on your team, but now that you're 11 months into this, especially those 22 super seniors who could have just either been done with football or pursued a different avenue, what have they meant to you in establishing kind of what you want to be? And I guess, how will you remember this team in a month of these super seniors and what they've done here?
Yeah, perspective is everything. And you're right, 11 months later, I think about all the things I've learned from our players. It's kind of like when I came in the building, I think I shocked some people that I literally interviewed every assistant coach, every GA, every analyst, every department head in the building, because I think when people are here there and you interview them, they're going to tell you something. It may be something you want to hear, you may not want to hear. It may be something that maybe somebody from the outside world wouldn't think of as a big deal. But I think people that are in the building and live through moments are going to share information with you, and players are no different. I met with all those players individually and learned a lot about their past. I distinctly remember, the first time I sat down, and I think the first 2 guys across from me were Palcho and Kramer. And I think I've told this story before. They were both kind of sitting sideways in their chair. And I'm like, well, note to self, literally, I wrote a note after the meeting, I need to get bigger chairs because they couldn't fit in them. So just little things like that. I began to hear things about, what kids, maybe in their minds perceived could change or how we could help them. That was one of the big things I always asked was like, what can we do to make you better? How can we help things with you? What can we do academically? What can we do nutritionally? What can we do, in the building? Any quirks? So it's been a group that I've really learned a lot from. I definitely wouldn't be as well as informed today as a head coach at Illinois if those guys hadn't come back. And then just some special, unique stories along the way, right? Like Jake Hansen, I learned how to appeal to the NCAA and get him back after declared for the draft, right? Like that hadn't happened in my career. So have a very unique bond with Jake in that regard. A couple guys that have actually, almost switched positions, right? Isaiah Gay and OC probably playing as good a football as they've played all year, and they're really, truly almost playing a completely different position than they've ever played, right? And seeing them play well. So those are some fun things that you get to watch.
Do you encourage them to maybe consume senior day in any particular way, like take a mental snapshot, or I guess, do you have any words for how they should maybe approach that day?
Yeah, we'll have a senior meeting with them actually tomorrow. I normally would have done it earlier in the week, but I wanted to do it in person. I just think, obviously there's a lot to be gained by seeing somebody's eyes. But for sure, like senior day should be a moment to remember forever, right? Like a lot of memories, some good, some bad. But, I think I said it the other day, I literally talk about senior day. I didn't get to recruit these guys, but, senior day to me means something. I normally would get a chance to write all the parents and make a reflection back to when I would recruited their son, and share a story with them and a message that is unique to them. A lot of times it's even a story that maybe their son doesn't know, right? So it's just a really special moment. One you can't get too caught up in. I remember my first senior day as a head coach, the last guy to walk across the line was Joe Thomas, who was my starting left tackle, who was the Outland Trophy winner and a very good player. And he was crying his eyes out, right? And I remember I got on the staff. I said, fellas, I don't know what's going to happen, but Joe Thomas is worked up. I don't know if it's going to be good or bad. And it ended up being very, very good. But every kid kind of takes it differently. Sometimes you'll get kids that are overly emotional that you would have never saw coming. And sometimes you'll get kids that are pretty stoic that just lock into the moment. It's going to be unique.
Thanks, Brett. Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Happy Turkey Day.
Brett, I don't know how productive this is, but I'm curious about some of your conversations you've had throughout the year with BP, specifically just through no fault of his own, his inability to be able to stay healthy. How much do you feel, or how much does that have frustrated you and feel like that's affected him this year and his ability to kind of, keep being consistent throughout the year?
Yeah. I did feel for him. I think that that first game, he had put so much into his preparation, going back to last spring, all summer, and then to start off with an injury as quick as he did in that Nebraska game, and then to see Art come in and have success, and that whole momentum swing. I think as a starting quarterback, we've said all the time, right? You get a lot of attention, whether sometimes warranted or unwarranted, and then. I inserted him back in the lineup for one reason. I thought he deserved it. I thought he earned it. And then, when that transition happened to Art, when he got hurt, again, it's very, it's not unreal because football's like that, but it's very unique now that he's battled himself back into the starting quarterback position and played fairly well down the stretch here. You always want your players to play their best at the end. And I think he's begun to do that. So I know last week for me, it may sound silly, but I saw a vantage point that I've never seen before, seeing live game action football right on TV. And I saw his reaction to players that he thought needed to do something better. And that's something I've been trying to draw out of him. Like, they need to feel you, they need to see you. And it's good to see that finally coming, because I'm glad it came now that it's never came.
Thanks, Brett. I appreciate it.
Yep.
Hi, Coach. Could you just go over the schedule for the players with the holiday? Is everyone staying on campus, or some allowed to go home?
Yeah, Doug. I'm sorry. Yeah, earlier I thought. So we'll get done with practice tomorrow. We'll have a Thanksgiving meal for them in the stadium in the Colonnades Club. If they're within a couple hours of home and they want to drive home, I'm all for that. I don't really want them driving late at night. That's why we're practicing early. I'd rather have them get up, get going, stay the night and then come back. We will resume. Normally we have our first meeting at 1:30 on Fridays for home games, and that's when we'll start. So as long as they're on time for that, just ask them to be smart, if they want to take some buddies home with them. But I think Mark Torsani, our chief of staff, I think he said, we're about 118 on the roster, 115, 118. Some guys are here and there. I think 90 of them RSVP that they're going to be at that lunch tomorrow. So the majority of our guys, I think, will be here. I think it, again, another great comment to their commitment to being here, and trying to do everything they can to get ready for a good Saturday. And then really that's about it.
Yeah, with the records, 4-7 and 3-8, it's the two teams, and the students still out on fall break. Just in general, what's the challenges for a head coach in getting a team emotional and ready to play under those conditions?
You see them as conditions, we see them as opportunities, right? Like, I think that's the part that probably is hard for people that aren't in the building to see. We were obviously an undefeated, winless or defeated team going into the Nebraska game, and I've seen our guys prepare the same way this week for Northwestern as they did for Nebraska, and I made that point to them, that very point today. I had a 12 o'clock Zoom, and I showed them 4 plays from kicking game yesterday. I showed them 7 plays from the offensive side of the football. I showed them five clips from defensive fundamentals, and then 5 clips from defensive practice yesterday. And one of my common phrases is practice habits become game day reality. And I wanted them to see that I watched them practice with the intensity that they have shown all year, and how much I appreciated that, because I wasn't there, but also that'll be the foundation of why they have success. Maybe not this weekend. I hope it is, but if not, it'll be why they have success in the future.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep.
Hey, Coach, on Monday, you talked about that Thanksgiving meal that you're having with the team, and you're kind of talking about it again. What kind of went into the decision to do something like that? I know that's something you said that you're going to be doing for the first time. So,
yeah. Again, when I came here, right, you're greatly shaped by the experiences of the past. So we've had some Friday Thanksgiving games in my past. Hopefully we're going to make November a month to remember in the future. Like I said all along, we're not making it for championships, but I remember my first Big Ten championship was in a time when there wasn't a Big Ten championship game. So the last game was actually before Thanksgiving, so it never really came into play. So then we saw the evolution when the Big Ten championship game came, that we were playing after Thanksgiving, and that brought a whole new perspective to our preparation. So that's when I started doing a meal. It's something we continued during my time at Arkansas, and then really got reinforced when I was in the NFL. Actually, in the NFL, you actually have Christmas holidays as well. And I remember, I think coaches get wrapped up in, can you celebrate things? Can you be human? We got to stay focused. And the year that we went to the Super Bowl and won it, I remember we had the granddaddy of them all, a Christmas party the day before a game, right? And it was the kids, it was Santa, there was games, there were toys, and I'm like losing my mind. I'm like, and I see Coach Belichick come over and talk to my little girls, and I'm like, this is just insane, right? But it was we went out and won the next day, and kind of just reaffirmed in my mind again that I think the players want to see you as human. And I was kind of shocked that we had as many players as we did sign up for it, because I thought more guys might go home or just kind of go to their own because they get per diem money. But we have a really good meal coming at them. Our guys like food, right? So it's kind of one of our, when we're on recruiting visits, all the guys want to host because they know they get these recruiting meals that are off the charts. And once I said that we were going to have the same company do this Thanksgiving meal, I think our attendance spiked through the roof on that announcement alone. So hopefully the meal doesn't disappoint.
yeah. And then I know you've spent a lot of time talking about family. I mean, hell, it's the mantra that you use for your entire program. Are coaches bringing their families and their kids to this event tomorrow? And what is it all going to mean to you to be able to put this on?
I know mine, Jen and my 2 girls are coming. I think there's a mixed bag, because sometimes I told my coaches, right? Like, if you want to come, you want to bring your family, you can bring your family, just not the whole neighborhood, right? Like, but if they want to bring their family, they can. So I think a majority of them will probably make an appearance, but then they might have to get home and see their families, right? Or they might just kind of pop up in there and then get out. And then I know, I was talking to Ryan 2 nights ago, I believe, and Ryan had invited all the safeties to come over to his house, and I know a couple of coaches invited their positional groups to come over to their house. once I have a house that's built, I think I'll be able to fit the whole damn team in there. I don't know what we'll do, but I think it's just one of those moments where you get to be something bigger than a football coach, and I know our guys take advantage of that.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Happy Thanksgiving.
You too.
Coach, with the anticipated, arrival back into the Smith Center tomorrow, do you feel like it's going to be a hit the ground kind of running type of thing for you as far as game planning, or do you feel like you've been able to have an ample amount of time in isolation and stick to your routine in that sense?
It's interesting you say that, because like last week, there was the bye week before, right? So I kind of got that bye week, so there was a lot of preparation in before I actually got knocked out with the isolation. This week was different, so I started watching Northwestern during the course of the end of last week, and when the guys were driving back, they had about a 4-hour bus ride back, so I actually popped on some Northwestern film there. I've been able to meet with my coaches, eat on a daily basis, so I haven't been in the building for the prep, but really after today's practice, there's not much that changes, right? Thursday is kind of a shine and polish day. You kind of work your practice on Thursday, review all four phases of the kicking game, and then you kind of have a mock game, if you will, offensively, defensively, where you work through the whole game scenario from early down, third down, red area, backed up, sudden change, end of half, end of game, different scenarios, and then so the game plan is pretty much in the bag. But I am excited to see the guys. I really truly am. They may not be excited to see me, but I'm excited to see them.
And sorry if you addressed this on Monday, but are you waiting for a negative test, or is it just the 10 days that the CDC requires?
Yeah, it's a 10 days. So I don't know when the last time I tested, but yeah, they gave me the protocol when I couldn't believe the amount of detail that goes into, right, when you have a positive that you reach out and all the things that come into play. I just was, and then my wife and everything that God bless her, she's been unbelievable. Because we had to pull our kids out, right, and she's been awesome dealing with them. Just excited for a variety of different reasons, but I didn't realize, which makes sense. This university has handled this COVID situation as well as anybody in the conference, and really I would argue probably anybody anywhere, and it's because of the detail and the involvement and the coordination that this whole campus and community has had. Is pretty awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to know the first thing you're going to do when you get out of jail.
I did. I had not driven my car. I went this morning and I couldn't stand it. I had to drive around a little bit. So I put my mask on, a cap on, and opened the sunroof. And it was the first time I'd driven my car since last Monday when I arrived here. So I imagine I'll get up. I woke up this morning pretty wired. It was like 3:30, 3:35. I think it was 3:33 or something like that. And I'm like, if I do this tomorrow, like if I get up I promise you I'm going right in. Like, even though, at 12:01, technically, I think I get to go in. So I imagine the first thing I'll do is go in that office, probably get some beats popping. And on Fridays or on Thursdays, I usually like to go a little throwback Thursday. So get some beats. I'll get some music. I'm going to get a shave. I got a little COVID beard going on. My daughters have told me 4 times, Daddy, you got to shave, right? So I know if I get a hug out of them, I better shave. And that's probably about it.
Thanks.
Yep.
Thanks, Coach. You're all good.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Happy Turkey Day to everybody.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Coach.
Coach B.